Another good video, a top player and a legendary manager. It's time for the League One nominations for Fans Player of the Year. We've got Alfie May from Cheltenham Town, Wes Burns from Ipswich, Scott Twine, Barry Bannon, Ross Stewart and Will Keane. Now, it might be League One, but we've got a top-tier panel. I'm joined by James Mappin from Wednesday Till I Die. Say hello, James.
Hello.
I thought you were going to go with hello, James, but that's good. We've got Liam Connolly from MK1 Podcast. We've got Adam Pendlebury from Wigans Progress with Unity Podcast.
Hello.
We've got Martin Lambert from Talking Town.
Hello.
And we've got Gab Sutton from the EFL Debate Show and Oli Fell, Cheltenham Town fan. Everyone good? Now, you're late in the day, so I know the beers are there. Everyone ready to get stuck into a good league?
We don't drink. We're true professionals, we don't drink.
This is like Christmas dinner. I think he's been celebrating for a couple of weeks.
He's very smug before we've even started.
They've won the league, and they said, we'll let him off.
Well, look, a good place to start. One of the standouts for the season, Will Keane. What a season he's had. He's been excellent for Wigan and probably found his best form.
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's really had a tough time. Obviously came through at Man United, so lots of expectations for his career, but he really struggled with injuries for the first 5 or 6 years of his career. He came in last season, free transfer. We just needed to get bodies in the building because we were in administration. Scored 11 goals, which were very important to keep us in League One last season. This season, to be fair to him, he did say at the start of the season that he wanted to top the goal scoring charts. Latics fans were not absolutely sure about that, but playing in a slightly deeper role, he scored 26 goals this season. He's also assisted 7. He's got the best goals to minutes ratio in the league. And if you want to look about his all-round play, I ask anyone to check out his pass to Callum Lang in the Plymouth away, the last-minute winner. He's been superb all season. He's not scored any spectacular goals, but he just knows exactly where to be. He always seems to be in the right place, right time, and yeah, let's celebrate Will Keane.
Adam, you give us the song?
Will Keane's on fire. But it's took a long time to move away from Will Griggs on fire, so that's a sign in itself.
It's a big jump, to be fair. A whole word had to change for that one.
Best dressed today, and he's given us a football chant already. I love it. Adam, let's talk about your manager, Liam Richardson. Liam with an E. As you said, he's been there since 2017, and some of the fans still don't know how to spell his first name. I read this quote from him early this season. He said, "We started with 3 players, no staff, no recruitment. Just how good a job has he done?"
Absolutely fantastic. He was the last person in the building last season, literally when we were in administration. He decided that he would give it a go. Amazingly kept us in the division last season. And then we're pretty much starting from scratch under the new owners. Yes, we had a decent budget, but having 3 players at the start of the season, that is tough in terms of recruitment. Most Wigan fans would have been very happy with a mid-table finish. Kind of tongue-in-cheek, or maybe after a few drinks at the start of the season, I said we'd win the league. But I genuinely would have been happy with a mid-table finish. But after about 4 or 5 games, I thought, this team's knitting together really well. We've got a really good chance here. And he's just brilliant, the way he's so positive. He's very humble. The first thing he said after winning the league was that he was thinking about those that were made redundant in the administration. Then he mentioned the fans, and then only after that he mentioned what an achievement it was to win the league with Wigan Athletic. Obviously very early in his managerial career, but what a start he's made. It's a step up next season in the Championship, but he's had bigger challenges, I think, than this, really. Essentially, what he said to us at the start of the season, he said, will you have a headache this year with all these players coming in and, lots of quality? He said, I'd rather have this. He said, last season, he goes, I'd be there at 2 o'clock on a Saturday. I didn't know he was turning up. So essentially, he knows what it's like to be like right down at the bottom. He picked that team up. He galvanised them. And then this season we've just kicked on. Apart from the first game of the season, we've not been outside the top 6. Very consistent, very level-headed, and I think he thoroughly deserves the Manager of the Year award that he got.
when you're building the statue, anyway.
Absolutely.
He'll be there next to Dave Whelan. Although, if you recall, the administrator said there should have been a statue of them next to Dave Whelan as well. I think I'd rather have Liam Richardson there, to be honest.
Gab, as our EFL expert, Richardson said that the hard work starts now. We remember Wigan as a Premier League club. What do you think's next in the next couple of seasons for them?
Well, I think it's, first of all, they're going to need a year to adjust to the Championship. I think if they could finish mid-table in the Championship next season, that would be another massive year of progression. But just to build on what has been said already about Liam Richardson, it's almost like in 2 seasons as being a number one manager, he's done 2 completely different jobs, because the first one was really a firefighting mission because he had a skeleton staff, hardly any players, and it was very difficult circumstances, and he managed to cultivate a kind of Dunkirk spirit to keep everyone together. And then the next season, he built a side that could win the title in one transfer window, and he's kept getting the best out of players like Will Keane and Callum Lang, who are already there from the year before. So, fantastic manager. I think he can go a long way in the game, and hopefully much of that will be with Wigan Athletic.
And I've got to ask Liam, how are you doing? I know you'll be upset from the end of the season, but your boy Scott Twine, he's made it onto the shortlist. Can you keep him? Can he stay a Don's player next season?
I'd love to say we can. I was saying to the panel before we came on, and even if he did get promoted this season, it would have been really difficult to keep him. The quality that you see from this season, 33 goal contributions from, I think it's 46, 47 games, absolutely incredible. The fact we even got him in the first place, I know there was a lot of Championship interest from him before he even joined Milton Keynes, and it was the first sign that Liam Sweetin made in the summer. And yeah, I mean, what impact he's had, and I feel he's fully deserved the Championship and Premier League interest he's getting. I feel that, I do feel we'll go to a Premier League side this summer. And it's a shame because, when you speak to his family, you speak to Scott, he's a really, really humble bloke and he puts a lot of work into his craft, and you can see why he does so well. But, he deserves to go to the top of the game, and I think that's where he'll go.
And when you look at those goals and assists where he chips in across the season, the numbers deserve the move and deserve the recognition. What elements of his game do you think will be transferable into the Premier League or the Championship?
It's a very cliche answer, but it's hard work. There's a lot of players say that they do hard work, but a lot of the coaches and a lot of the staff sort of highlight that no matter what club he's been at, whether it's Newport, Swindon, MK Dons, it's the hard work of Scott really shines through, and you can see that whenever he goes after a game, him and the coach Manning are always on the coach looking at his free kicks, looking at what he's done at the game, and it translates into his performance. And I feel that and having also the freedom on the pitch to do what he likes, and having that free run role where he's not really playing a position, he's kind of just roaming around the sort of 10/striker role and just scoring goals and getting assists. So clearly that's what's worked with him and why he's done so well this year.
So you're going to hold out buying the Twine shirt for next season. You have to. You're not sure if he's still going to be there. Yeah.
He's peeling the name off now.
Yeah. No, I think unfortunately, I might have to hold off on that one.
James, can I ask you about Ross Stewart? I know it's still raw.
I'd rather not, if I'm being perfectly honest. He scored 4 goals against us this season, so yeah, it is a bit raw.
He's had 12 Man of the Match awards this season, more than any player in the league. Were you surprised at the value of every goal he scored, particularly the first leg, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, he's when you look at the amount of goals that he has scored, he's got 24 goals this season, so I think that equates to like nearly 1 in 3 of Sunderland's goals this season. So that's, he's a fantastic player. I think he probably had a tale of 2 halves. I think he had a better first half of the season than he did the second, but he still managed to score against us and ultimately, keep us out of the playoffs. So yeah, would I have him at Hillsborough as a Sheffield Wednesday player? Absolutely, yeah. We've not had a 20-goal a season striker since Neil Mellor back in 2011. So yeah, we'd love to have him at our place.
Quickly, Gab, what do you put his consistency down to?
I think the work rate, certainly. He's a very tall striker, but he's also very mobile, and I think that would help him in terms of stepping up to Championship level, because you can be very good in the air, which Ross Stewart is. I saw him play against Crewe and absolutely dominate their defenders in the air from crosses into the box, and I think that shows the threat that he's got from those situations. But also, if you're going up into the Championship, you might not necessarily have all the games on your terms, and sometimes you might have to run the channels a bit. I think he's got that in his locker as well. So I think his all-round game is very strong, and a striker I rate really highly.
No, I know it ended in disappointment for Sheffield Wednesday, and this group, this list, the success of them means there is interest all over the division for several of your players. Barry Bannon's numbers this season, talk to me, because they're unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been incredible. 9 goals and 12 assists this season, which that's something that he's added to his game. We know the talent of Barry Bannon. I think we've probably taken for granted, if I'm being perfectly honest. The vision that he's got, he can pick a pass out. I mean, those that watched on Monday for our goal, the pass that split the defence, he's got that in his locker. He's probably, if you're speaking to me, he's the best player in League One by far. And we all.
There's a few shaky heads over there.
I know there is, but he's maybe it's a bit biased, but yeah, it's a credit to have Barry Bannon, for him to stay at Sheffield Wednesday. He keeps saying he's got unfinished business, he's a captain. Some of the passes that he makes. I mean, he's got goal of the year as well, the goal against MK Dons. So sorry about that.
That's right.
But yeah, what a goal that were. And I think most of his goals have come from outside the box this season, and that's something that he didn't have, in previous years. And he's got a lot more forward this season. But the numbers could be even better as well. Obviously the goal against Sunderland, he don't get anything, don't get an assist because it was the assist of the assist, if that makes sense. So, but that's what he's got. He can do that. It's probably he sees passes that some of the players at Sheffield Wednesday perhaps don't see as well. So, but yeah, he's an absolute credit. And yeah, there's a lot of talk of him going elsewhere, but I think we can keep him. I think he's like he says, he's got unfinished business, and I'm sure that he looks like he's happy at Wednesday. We're all singing his name, the Scottish Zidane. So,
that helps, yeah.
Yeah, of course it does, yeah.
And for clubs at the top of the division, or as EFL fans, we're used to the higher turnover with players. Is it a case of Sheffield Wednesday putting the money where the mouth is and keeping this bunch of players to go and do another promotion push?
Yeah, I mean, we signed, 16, 17 players last season. Obviously, after we got relegated, we had a lot of players on big wages that that we just couldn't afford. So we've got rid of those. We've got players in now, and I think I don't want another rebuild season. I think I want to bring players in to just enhance what we've got now. We finished 4th, 5 points off our automatic. There's still some fans that said that it's been a disappointing season because obviously we all expected, I wouldn't say expect, but we wanted to go up. I was a bit more level-headed. I thought that to get into the playoffs would be a good achievement, and obviously that's what we did. But just want to hope that we can add a few tweaks here and there. Hopefully, like you said, keep a hold of the vast majority of the players that we've got, and hopefully push to do what Wigan's done this season and go up as champions.
Martin, Oli, you've waited patiently. Just on the fact that Sheffield Wednesday are staying in the league, we're not even going to mention the likes of Portsmouth, Bolton, Charlton. There are some huge clubs in League One. Is there more pressure, do you think, on them to get promoted?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're one of them. Obviously, being Ipswich Town, we're equally as big as a football club as probably anybody in League One, and we know the pressure. We've not been in the playoffs once since being relegated. So the pressure can get you. It can undermine a season, but yeah, I mean, you've got to keep that squad together, I think, and build on the foundation of a good year. We brought 19 new signings in and never saw the playoffs once. So,
do you notice that difference with Cheltenham?
Oh, massively, yeah. I mean, the league is sort of split into two, really. There's 12 teams at the top, and the top half of the table who wouldn't have cut a place in the Championship. Then there's the bottom 12 who wouldn't have cut a place in League Two. So, obviously the league has been unbelievably competitive this year. I mean, some of the names in this league, sort of Cheltenham coming in here with the likes of, Bolton, Portsmouth, Charlton, Sheffield Wednesday. The list goes on, really. Like, it's silly, we're used to the small grounds, the small sort of attendances, fighting above, and then you come to Hillsborough or Stadium of Light and 30,000 fans, you're thinking, what on earth is going on? Why is Cheltenham here? But no, I mean, Cheltenham have kept their distance from the top half of the table somewhat, but no, it's actually been riveting to follow the fight at the top, because to see all those big teams going sort of head to head, I mean, Plymouth finishing on 80 points in 7th is completely unheard of. I mean, it shows the level of quality in this division.
And Alfie May has been the standout man, another non-league success story with a goal in every other game, which is a great record for a forward player. Would you say that him, Stewart and Keane, they're a class above the rest?
God. Potentially, they're definitely up there, but there are a lot of very good strikers in this division. I mean, Cole Stockton of Morecambe also had a terrific campaign. I think he scored the same amount as Alfie has. And then obviously there's Michael Smith at Rotherham, who his goals are obviously massively important. But I mean, to hear Alfie May's name involved with those players from those teams is just still very surreal to me. I'm probably about as surprised as anyone else is that I'm up here talking about a Cheltenham Town player, and we've got Sunderland, Sheffield Wednesday fans. It's still very, very surreal for Cheltenham to be in this situation. I mean, Alf has been absolutely ridiculous this season. He's not single-handedly carried Cheltenham to where they are, but I mean, without his goals, it would be a very scary predicament for Cheltenham, I think. He's done it all as well. He's been on corners, on free kicks. It's been a one-man band at times, to be honest. He's been Mr. Do It All, and we lost our captain in pre-season for 200 grand to a non-league team.
Not mention any names.
Well, let's just say we'll be supporting some other National League teams in the playoffs. But no, look, coming into the season, Alf was never that 20-goal a season striker. He was always, the sort of bit part, player who come in, few sub appearances here and there. He wasn't even a constant in the team at the start of the season. He was only coming on off the bench occasionally. And after Christmas, there was interest from America. He even admitted to having his head turned by San Diego. We all thought he was gone. He stayed. He signed a new contract. Banged in about 15 goals in the second half of the season. So to see what he's done, it has been incredible, really. And a few of the gents on this panel have already expressed interest, and their teams might be able to sign him, but they'll have to stump up a pretty penny if they want him, I reckon.
You say it's unbelievable for you. He scored 2 against me when he was playing for Hythe Town in maybe step 4 or 5. So to see him in this list is incredible. And even then, everyone just commented on his work rate, and being in and out of a team and then getting into a team. How do you think he's developed this year under Cheltenham?
I think he's matured a lot, to be honest. I think that's a lot of credit has to go to Michael Duff, who is one of the outstanding managers in the division, if you'd ask me. I think what he's done with Cheltenham is nothing short of miraculous, to be honest. On a shoestring budget, the second smallest in the league behind Crewe, to not even have touched the bottom 4 all season is nothing short of stupendous from Duff. I mean, the way he's brought the best out in Alf as well, Alfie May. It's been amazing to see. Alf's last season he was good, but he was missing quite a lot of high quality chances. I mean, he scored 9 last season, and if you'd asked me which player would I have been up here talking about last year, I wouldn't have said Alf, who scored 23 goals and got 4 assists. So, credit to Alf. He's been really, really superb, to be honest, and he's deserving all the plaudits coming his way.
So, Martin, pre-season favourites, finished 11th.
Cheers for that reminder.
Maybe next year. Let's talk about Wes Burns. Is it a good thing that your wing-back led the team in scoring, and how impressive is that at 13?
Incredibly impressive. All due respect to the names mentioned here, that's a right wing-back, and he's scored 13 goals. He had no right scoring 13 goals from right wing-back, you could argue, but he has, and they're not penalties, they're not free kicks, they're all from open play, and he's an incredible finisher in front of goal for a wing-back. But it isn't ideal that the only person other than Macaulay Bonne who is a lone player was Wesley Burns scoring. So not ideal. We could do with an Alfie May or another striker, or you can find the net. But pre-season favourites, finishing 11th. Yeah, I mean, what can you say about that? I mean, it's just atrocious.
Where do you find the consistency next year?
That's a good question. Well, we brought 19 new players in, so a lot of Town fans are clinging to the hope that it was just the transition from the previous regime to the new regime under new ownership, 19 new players. But then hearing other fans say we brought 18 and we brought 17, and you suddenly start to lose the footing of that excuse. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, that's a question that McKenna will be trying to find this summer. But had he come in earlier, we very well, according to form, would have been a playoff side. So we didn't start well, and the start really hindered us.
What's your argument for Wes to win the award?
He's a right wing back who hasn't scored a free kick, hasn't scored a penalty, all from open play. He is our best player. The games we've lost are the games where either he's been injured or the team have managed to stop him. Literally, he was being double, triple marked often, and there was nobody else stepping up. He is by far Ipswich Town, certainly of last year.
Now, I know Ipswich Town could only dream of seeing 83 points this year, but it's
Absolutely
a figure that finished 6th. The league's so competitive. It's a number that would have finished 3rd in every other division. Gabby, if you could, why do you think this season has been so competitive compared to previous seasons?
What a really good question. I think there's lots of big clubs in League One, I think is the obvious point, but I also think a lot of the big clubs have got their act together. So Martin's just been talking about Ipswich Town. They've got Brett Johnson, a lot of new investment coming in there after the previous regime, which was much needed. Sunderland, you could argue, have made a few improvements off the field. So I think there's a little bit of that. And I'm really excited throwing it forward a little bit to next season, because I think there's going to be 10, 12 teams in the division next season that would see finishing outside the top six as a failure. So it's going to be incredibly competitive, and I actually think it's going to be quite hard for an underdog. We saw Shrewsbury under Paul Hurst a few seasons ago in 17-18 sort of defy the odds to get to the playoff final. I'm not sure in the current climate of League One there's necessarily going to be much scope for that, because the big clubs seem to have got their act together.
Yeah, Adam, you're off, aren't you? You're off. You're in Championship now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, albeit at the top, it was very difficult to get in the playoffs, and you needed high numbers. If you think about the bottom of the league, you needed low numbers to stay up. I think Fleetwood stayed up on a record
40
record low this season. So I think maybe that the fact that very few of the sides who were hovering around the relegation zone were taking points off the bigger sides, really, I think had an impact.
Apart from Doncaster beating MK Dons twice.
Yeah, that was great.
Just had to throw that one in there.
Yeah, I don't think you wanted to hear that then,
Well,
did you?
to be fair,
And I was at Yeovil many years ago when they were in League One, and you look at the funds that football clubs have got now, almost all the way down to the National League. Does that worry you at all, that you are seeing players go for 200 grand to the National League and you're seeing big wages being paid divisions below, or do you think that just strengthens the Football League?
Yeah, I think it's good for the game that money's being spent in it. All right, it needs to be spent in the right way, of course, like for sustainability and things like that. But you want to see good players in all the leagues, whether that's the National League, League One, League Two, Championship, wherever that is. Right up to the Premier League, you want the best players in those leagues. And if it's all right saying that, being bitter as a Cheltenham fan, but as a Wrexham fan, you'd have been loving it that you're signing those players. So if Chansiri wants to throw his money around again, then feel free. Just don't do it like he did to get us in this mess that we're in right now. But yeah, I think it's. For me, I think it's good, as long as it's spent in the right way, of course.
And do you think the EFL still has the same attraction as it did when the gap between the National League was perhaps bigger?
The gap between the League Two and the National League. I think there's lots of teams in the National League that that can afford big wages, and I think that's certainly affecting the financial landscape. But I also think that clubs have got to start investing in the decision-making process. I think that's the secret to success in the EFL. Don't just invest in the decisions you're making, invest in the decision-making process. And I don't think enough clubs do that. I think drill down on your recruitment and making sure that you bring in the right players that suit the system that you're building towards. I think that's the secret to it, I really do.
And Derby, Peterborough, Barnsley next year. Liam, I'll come to you on that one. Like, how competitive is this league going to be next year?
Very competitive. I'm actually very excited. I think this League One season we're all been a part of has been one of the best ever. And I feel next season, with those size of clubs coming down, especially Derby and even Peterborough for us, quite a local game for us, absolutely massive. And I feel the majority of the teams here will be, we're going to of course go into the Championship, will be right up there fighting against them. And some of them will be a bit more weaker than maybe they expect to be. And I feel some of us teams, especially Ipswich, I think Ipswich's season this year replicates our one from the season previous. Playoff form didn't get there. Next season we'll be looking to get into the playoffs. I think they will personally. And yeah, it's going to be a dogfight, and we're going to see who comes out on top.
It's exciting as well, isn't it? The couple of the sides coming up. Obviously, Forest Green will be new to the league, and Exeter haven't played at this level for a long time. So I think that gives brings something else to the league as well. So, albeit I'm happy to be in the Championship, I do like League One, because generally
you'll not miss good at Accrington in the rain on that terrace.
You ain't going to miss that about League One.
Yeah, but four of the last 5 times we've been in it, we've won the league, and the season we didn't win it, we were in administration. So I do really like League One, to be honest. But maybe we'll see you again in a couple of years.
As many panellists as nominees, guys, thank you so much for your contributions. It's been fun.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
And remember, you can vote for your PFA Virtu Motors Fans Player of the Year right now on 90min.com.